Hello and welcome to a real quick tutorial on naval invasions and deploying your navies. I keep seeing questions about this topic and I thought it would be useful to do a quick tutorial. So it's 1939 and I've started the game with the United Kingdom just to show the basics of how to do this. It's going to be real quick, it's going to be not as detailed or complex as you might want. If you do want a more complex explanation, I am working on a bigger tutorial that deals with everything to do with naval combat and controlling the skies, and once that is done I will put a little thingy up on the screen in this tutorial to show you where it is. Right, so naval invasions are quite tricky to get your head around. There are a number of things that are very relevant to how a naval invasion works. The first thing to know is that you can only do naval invasions from one port to usually another port. You can actually do a naval invasion somewhere else, but that is not recommended because if you, for example, let's take Denmark. If we want to invade Denmark and we land in this province, we won't actually get any supplies from there because we won't have a harbour or a port. So to get the most bang for your buck, if you like, with a naval invasion, you would need to get one of these naval bases so you can get supplies in. But we're Britain, and of course we are going to try and invade Germany. And there is actually a harbour here that I've selected earlier because it's behind the river. I think that's the Ems. It's behind the river so we can actually defend it. And what we want to do in this case, we are going to put all our armoured and most of our motorised troops over, and the way to do that is actually really straightforward. You go there, you click there, which is the port that I want to leave from, and that's just a left mouse click, and then you go to the base where you want to go to and you click with the right mouse button. As you can see, there are now actually two provinces selected. Is that? No, that's just one province. Okay, so what will happen is these troops will get on transports which come out of your convoys, get on the boat and drop down. This is limited early on in the game, certainly, by 10 divisions. The reason for that is because we have not yet researched the technology that we need for bigger invasions, which is this. If you research landing craft, you can actually invade up to 50 troops in one go, and that is a huge difference, certainly against a big enemy with a lot of troops. That could be the difference between an invasion working and not working. Now if we're talking about a D-Day style invasion, then you need this advanced landing craft, which is available, I think in 1944 that is, yes. And the advanced landing craft add another 100 troops to that total, so then you can land with 150 divisions, which is huge. It also increases the amphibious invasion speed and the invasion defense, so it works both ways, I suppose. But the invasion defense really is, once you've landed, your troops are better at keeping the ground and holding the ground, so you can create a better beachhead. I've selected Britain because they actually get something that's very useful, and that is a national focus, that's amphibious warfare. What amphibious warfare does is it improves your marines. Ideally you want to do a naval invasion with marines, and it gives you two 50% research bonuses for the transport models that I've just talked about, which means that if you get that, you can invade an awful lot quicker and better than most other countries, certainly if you get it ahead of time. So we've deployed Monty to this invasion. All 10 divisions will go over once the transports have been assigned, but there is a small problem. Monty doesn't think it's a good idea to do this invasion because we don't know enough about the English Channel and the Eastern North Sea. What he is referring to there is these two sea tiles, the English Channel and the Eastern North Sea, and that corresponds with the route we are taking. So what do we do to actually help him get that intel? Well, we go and dominate those sea zones. So we select, in this case, the Nor command. It doesn't actually matter too much what you select, and we can assign them to 4 different orders, and this is something that people are asking about as well. The only difference between these orders really is that they change the formation spread, and that is relevant because the formation spread decides which ships get into which battle first. So if we put these boys on patrol, then we have a spread of 160, which is very wide. So that means the ships are literally sailing apart with a much bigger gap between them. And that gap can be, if you have to look at it realistically, we're talking about miles rather than, hundreds of yards. And that means that the slower ships, and that's usually the capital ships, are not going to be in the first contact. Now there is a small bonus that you can get to avoid that being a problem, and that is assigning an admiral who has the right skills. Superior tactician will actually allow more ships in the first contact. So if you are going to patrol, I highly recommend you assign a good admiral. And the other thing I highly recommend is that you only patrol in areas where you have proper support. So that heavy cruiser, 2 light cruisers and a bunch of destroyers, if they were to meet with a proper Kriegsmarine or a proper Regia Marina, they would be toast, and we don't want that. So having done the patrol of this sea towel, we are also going to assign a search and destroy fleet, and actually we will assign them to both. What we have here is a proper fleet with a carrier, 2 battleships, some light cruisers and some destroyers. And this fleet is far more capable of actually destroying an enemy fleet. That is because they sail closer, and because they sail closer to each other, more ships get into the first contact. So that is a bonus, but the disadvantage of having a fleet on search and destroy is that they aren't very good at spotting the enemy. And to resolve that, we do something that helps them to spot. So here you can see that Algernon Willis, that's a weird name, never come across that, has a spotting chance of plus 10, 0.10. That doesn't sound like a lot, but 0.10 on 1 is quite good. That's a 10% increase. Right, so having explained that, actually I think it makes it from the 50 to 55, but we won't dive into those mechanics. Having done that, we should now have enough intel of these actual zones. Oh, Germany's declared, that's handy. Can we... there we go, we've killed 2 convoys already, and there we've killed 3 convoys. And you will notice that we haven't actually got a convoy raider here. Right? We don't necessarily need a convoy raider because we have our search and destroy and patrol fleets, and they do the same thing. Very important thing to realize. And we're getting close. We can nearly push the button. Oh, this waiting. It's such a glorious thing. There we go. Right, so now we click to activate the order, and we will see those troops go over. Now this could end very badly very quickly, or it could go quite well. It all depends on how much defense they've got, and they've got quite a lot. Can we flip this battle around by selecting some bombers? We could try. I don't think they can reach there, but why not? Warsaw has already fallen, that's even worse news. I don't think in this case we are going to win this battle. So that really just concludes this quick tutorial. All I wanted to show you was that there's a maximum number of troops you can put through. You have to have control or at least knowledge of the sea zones you're getting through. So with these sea zones you can now see they are all green. They can also be a sort of beigey color, which means they're contested, but a invasion will go through that. And you need to plan the whole thing. So the first 10 troops, because we're early in the technology, if they landed, they could be squashed quite quickly. So make sure that you have an appropriate force behind it to reinforce. Those aren't limited by those 10. Once you hold this land, and the harbour in particular, the port, they will just move over. That's the very quick tutorial. I'm Dr. Klumber. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then please like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions for other tutorials, do let me know. Thank you, Clumber out.